students, and welcome back. We are learning today on lesson 2 from Megalodon, the largest shark that ever lived. We're learning about the centra today. I am Kim Claunch. I am the curator here at the Western Heritage Museum and Lee County Cowboy Hall of Fame in Hobbs, New Mexico. Cool things about sharks is they're a lot like a tree. I'll get to that in a second. I'm sitting in front of the vertebrae of different sharks around the time that Megalodon lived. On top right here is the Megalodon backbone. Scientists call it the centra, or the vertebrae. And down on bottom is a piece of the salmon shark. The other ones are extinct sharks that we don't really know much about. And you can tell the age of a shark based off the centra. Trees and sharks both have rings, and that's how you can tell the age. And the rings will be opaque, which is a little bit thin, or heavy, which are the thicker rings, and that's based off temperature, about the water around the sharks or the air around the trees, and also the nutrition in the food that they get is just based off the thickness and the thinness of the rings. That's kind of fun information that trees are like sharks. So let's begin by looking at the photographic things that you have on your sheet. You should have a tree cookie, which is what I was just holding up a second ago, a little round piece of a tree. And then you should have a picture of a shark centra, or a vertebrae. So take a close look at that right now while we're talking. Shark centras, or the backbones, are what determines the age of a shark based off the fossil. So if we were looking up here at the Megalodon backbone, you would be able to see that it's a whole bunch of little teeny tiny lines. And if you sat here long enough, you can actually sit there and count every single ring. Do you know any difference between the shark vertebrae or the tree cookie photo? Because sharks are ectothermic, or cold-blooded, the area around them controls their temperature. Where we come with our already temperature control set in our body, sharks, lizards, and reptiles need, to swim in warm water to get warm and cold water to get cold. So it's based off their ecosphere. Dark bands indicate a slower rate of growth, so more probably maybe the winter months, and the light bands represent a faster rate of growth, which would more than likely be your summer months. By counting the bands, we can determine the age of the shark or the tree. This method is tested by counting the growth rings. So if you look at these two images I have here on my paper, hopefully I'll have them also. You'll see I have a 7-year-old centra, and then I have a 10-year-old centra. The bands are different. So this 10-year-old had different rates of growth. He had slow rates and fast rates a lot through his age, and the 7-year-old had a steady rate of growth. So what you would do is you would start counting. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the width of the band also provides information about the shark's rate of growth. The wider bands indicate a greater growth than the narrower bands. B had greater growth, so the shark had more nutrition and things like that. So the next problem that we have is, can you determine the age of a Megalodon centra? Instead of actually being able to bring you to see the centra and us being able to bring the centra to you, we figured out a way to put it in paper form. So can you figure out the age of my paper Megalodon? If so, do you know how old it was when this Megalodon died? I'll give you a hint. It's in its 20s. And we have a lot of different shark specimens in the Megalodon exhibit, and hopefully you'll be able to come out and see all the different backbones, vertebrae, or centras. So in this case that we're looking at right now, right back here, this very long spinal cord cable, it's actually a full backbone of a salmon shark. Salmon shark no longer exist, they are extinct. This particular specimen is 50 million years old. You can still look at it at the sides, down here and off at the front, that you can still count the rings to see how old it was, which is fascinating. For a more modern look at sharks, this first one right here that has this bone sticking out of it actually isn't a shark, it's a grouper fish. But you can see the centra in it, which is so fascinating to me that even some fish are like sharks, and you can count how old they are. This white one that looks like kind of a candy, I call it the jawbreaker of the fish because it just looks like a jawbreaker to me, is a tiger shark. And then this last one over here is a great white shark. And so you can sit here and you can also see the vertebrae and count it. It's kind of fascinating how spines and bones are, and they're fossilized. If you have any questions, Please email us. Feel free to email us at the museum. Feel free to call us at the museum, or if you follow the museum on Facebook, send us a question there and we'll send you a message back. Bye, guys.